how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Awkward Situations, the series where you guys leave comments about awkward situations that are happening or that have happened in your lives, embarrassing stories, anything you want to talk about. And then I take a few of those comments and I talk about them in this series. Got some great updates on previous awkward situations today and some pretty decent awkward situations as well. So I thank you guys, as always, for your comments. Those are what drive this series. So it's great to have good comments because it makes good episodes of this series, I feel. I don't know if I have any gameplay in the background right now. If I do, it's gameplay that I threw together quickly before editing this video because as of right now, when I'm recording this video on Sunday afternoon, I wanted to upload it on Sunday night, so hopefully that happened October 15th, 2017. Hopefully it's up on Sunday night. I don't have any gameplay, so any gameplay that's in the background is thrown together and probably garbage, but I like to have both things to look at in the video. By that, I mean my face and or the gameplay. Whatever you want to look at, maybe a combination of both, maybe neither, that's fine. I appreciate you guys as always. Let's get into the updates right now. A quick reminder before I read the updates, if you want to go back and watch my reaction to the original situation, I have linked timestamped links in the description to the original episode and situation next to the timestamp links I always have in the description for different situations in the individual episode. I hope that wasn't confusing. It probably was. It's all right. It doesn't matter. So this first update is from a guy who said that he was going to be on either his high school or college bowling team. Maybe he didn't specify. And he said that his girlfriend's father was going to be his coach, and he was nervous about how that was going to turn out. The update says, hey, Joel, update to the bowling situation. So we had our first tournament last week, and the relationship between me and him is pretty normal. It hasn't been very awkward at all, and it's actually been kind of cool. Thanks for the advice and help. You're the GOAT. So, as we've said in the past, things are normally not as bad as you assume they are going to be before you actually experience them. And I'm glad that this is, again, one of those situations in the majority of the things that work out for the better, even when you assume that they're not going to be so great. Let's move on to that second update. Our second update is in regards to one of the more controversial situations I've done on this series in terms of comment reaction. A lot of people were talking about this a couple of episodes ago. A boy was describing his experiences vandalizing a girl's home, a girl in his school who he described as a thought. His friend slashed her tires, and the girl and her family were understandably mad. They were asking this group of boys who they found out did this to the tires to pay them money to buy new tires, and it was a whole deal. Here's the update to the situation. Update, sorry for coming off as a douche, but anyway, me and my friends pooled together money to replace her tire. We apologized to her and her family for the inconveniences we caused, cleaned her house, and also made them an apology card. Definitely learned from this, and I stopped hanging out with Mr. Stab. Sorry for getting you a little heated. I really didn't mean to. Thanks for the help. I just want to clarify that I was not heated at you. I do not know you, and you did not come off as a douche. Your actions made you a douche. You can say that you're not a bad person, but if you do bad things by those actions, you are a bad person. Famously, Richard Nixon said, I am not a crook. He did things that could be considered criminal, at least impeachable offenses. Then you get into a whole U.S. government thing. I was just saying, like, famously, the quote from Richard Nixon is, I am not a crook. Well, you're doing things that make you a little bit criminal, so that would make you a crook. You know, I think you guys can understand that analogy. I really appreciate what you did in this situation. It sounds like you really learned from the experiences or the experience of vandalizing someone's home. Not the, you know, maybe you learned before you vandalize someone's home next time, but when you're young, you do stupid things and you learn from the mistake. Sounds like you went above and beyond to really apologize to this family, cleaning up and an apology card in addition to the money, and you are reevaluating who you want to be friends with, which is something you have to do multiple times in your life. I appreciate the update. One of the better updates I've gotten in terms of my hope for humanity. So thank you so much for that. Let's get into today's awkward situations right now. Today's first awkward situation says, hey Joel, so a couple of weeks ago, I visited my girlfriend at her college. I was in her dorm room when I had to go through the bathroom. I walk out and the bathroom that I had used previously was being cleaned. I went back in and asked her if there were others I could use, and she said, yeah, go upstairs. They are in the same position. So I do just that, and not paying any attention to it, I was sitting on the toilet doing my thing when I look through the crack and see a person with very short shorts and very smooth legs. Before long, I realized that I was taking a dump in the women's bathroom. The bathrooms also have showers, and this was at o'clock in the morning, so lots of females were going in and doing their makeup and getting ready. I was trapped for a very, very long time. Has something like this ever happened to you? I can think of 2 specific scenarios in which I've had to hide from people like you did, although yours is probably much funnier than my scenario because you probably had to put your legs up, or maybe you quickly broke a pen and shaved the bottom part of your leg so no one was looking under the stall suspecting you're a man. Maybe your legs fell asleep, and when you eventually decided to make your run for it, your legs were completely numb and you had to crawl out army style. I picture this like a comedy movie scenario. My 2 situations, first one, I was younger and my grandparents used to take me camping, and then later my siblings. Unfortunately, they passed away before they were too old, but I remember being about 7 or 8 years old, and I was camping with my grandparents. My siblings weren't there. It was just me, my grandpa, and my grandma, and we were somewhere in the Michigan area camping. It might have been this local campground in Lansing. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So we were there, and they like to camp with a group of people. Like whenever you would go to specific campgrounds, you'll see like the same group of people. I have another set of grandparents that do the same thing. Like, oh, those are our camping buddies. So one of their camping buddies had a grandson as well, and I found him to be extremely annoying to the point where I would fear seeing his face. It was so long ago, I cannot remember why I found him to be annoying. I think he just wanted to do a bunch of random stupid things like go throw rocks at each other or say. He wasn't like bullying me or anything, but he came off as a huge 8 or 9 year old douche. I don't know, something that made me want to not hang out with him. So we went camping this one summer, and I didn't want to see him at all. Like, I couldn't take it. I knew he was there. I saw he was there. I was like, oh, Grandpa, please, no, I don't want to hang out with him. And I formulated this plan. I had to hang out with him one day, like the first day. I couldn't get away from him, and he's like, let's go walking through the woods. And we were like racing through the brush and this debris and walking all around. I don't even remember what we were doing. At one point, we came across poison ivy, and we knew it was poison ivy. So I avoided it, but I acted like I didn't avoid it. And then the next day, I told my grandpa that I didn't have poison ivy poisoning or whatever you would say. But I told my grandpa to tell the boy, who I don't even remember his real name now, otherwise I would say it, that I had poison ivy poisoning and I couldn't play. So it was in the middle of the summer, one of the nicest days in the summer in Michigan in like 1998, and I just had to sit in our camper in his bed, my grandfather's bed, the entire day. And this was before we had iPhones. I guess Game Boy Color was out, but I did not have the Game Boy with me, because I remember looking through multiple magazines all day and just thinking, I wish this douche was not here. I didn't have the confidence to just say, you know what, I don't want to hang out with you. I'm 8 years old and you're a piece of shit. I wish I had that, because then I could have had that nice, wonderful summer day back with my grandparents. Instead, I just slept in the bed all day, and then I was walking out and about the next day. I was acting like, oh, it's kind of itchy. I was wearing sweatpants, and I was like, no, I don't want to show you guys. Like some of the other grandparents there were like, I'm sorry you had that bad experience. And I'm like, yeah, it's gotten a lot better though. I guess I'm a fast healer. So that was random. And then a high school girlfriend I had snuck into her house once at night past curfew to study. God, you're such a dog, Joel. Long story short, she liked to hang out downstairs, and then her parents were coming down, and she's like, quick, run, hide. So I went and I hid in the closet, and I had to sit in the closet alone for about 2 hours because she had to pretend like she went to sleep, and then she texted me, okay, it's safe to leave now, because her parents went back to sleep. So it was like that old R. Kelly song, Trapped in the Closet. I got to be trapped in the closet for about 2 hours. However, my legs didn't go numb, and I didn't have to listen to girls doing their makeup and or potentially doing vile things in the bathroom that you wouldn't necessarily want to hear. I'm not trying to be sexist, but, you know, I don't want to hear the girls doing the vile things. Please, they are innocent angels who are God's gift to this earth. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's move on to the second awkward situation right now. Second awkward situation says, hey, nobody, I'm 20 years old, a senior in college, and I've never had a girlfriend, but I've been on a couple dates during my time here that never worked out. But I've always still wanted a girlfriend, although I haven't found anyone I truly click with. I don't have a problem asking anyone out, but I hate leading someone on. My question is it selfish just to ask someone out for the sake of wanting to have a girlfriend? Although I do not see a quote-unquote perfect connection, or is it better to just keep waiting for that perfect girl to come along? I fear waiting too long, but half the time I believe the wait is worth it. This is kind of a complicated situation to unwrap. I'm going to have to say a lot of things that are assumptions, trying to get into your headspace, but I wanted to put this comment into the video in general just to dispel this notion of the perfect girl or the perfect man. And certainly the evidently perfect girl or the evidently perfect man. You'll see in the movies, some guys will be talking in the hallway, and then the one guy will like look over his shoulder a little bit, and then he'll just see this girl walking down the hallway. The guys and girls who she's walking amongst part like the sea, the Red Sea from Moses in the Bible. Just this girl is glowing and walking down the hall or whatever. And that's not realistic. If someone is perfect for you, it might not even be evident to you when you first start dating them. So you might as well date people that you have even a remote interest in, whether it be their humor, their personality, maybe it's looks. If you have any type of interest in them and you feel like it possibly could work, it's worth trying to date someone just to see what you're interested in and see what you like, especially before you get married, because you need to know what you want before you get it, so you learn through experience. You don't just sit around creating this perfect girl in your head, and lo and behold, when you sit around creating the perfect girl in your head, she doesn't exist because she only exists in your head. I love my wife with all my heart. Megan is the perfect girl for me. The reason I got married to her was because we were at kind of an impasse. We were both graduating college. Well, she graduated college. I dropped out of YouTube to do college, and we said to ourselves, are we going to be together, or are we going to see other people? And the thing for me personally, I can't get in her head, but for me personally, I just kept thinking to myself, if I break up with Megan, if we decide to see other people, I feel like I will regret it for the rest of my life. Megan and I have been together for many years, and we have gotten through a lot of different struggles together. We have grown together. We are not the same people we were at 17 years old. And I felt like that was how you make that decision, that all-important decision. Do I want to be married to that person? But it's not an easy decision to come to, and it's not something that's going to smack you in the face. It's something you're going to have to think about. There is no perfect. Again, I hate to bring up Megan, my lovely wife, who is currently getting birthday stuff around for me because my birthday is tomorrow, and she's so awesome. But she doesn't really like video games. I guess my perfect girl would be everything that Megan is, plus liking video games. So the perfect girl does not exist, but she's perfect for me. That's on the Hallmark card. Signed, Love, Joel. Give that to your spouse on their anniversary or whatever. I don't want to sound corny or some cheesy bullshit or whatever. I want you guys to know that there is not the perfect girl. It's worth seeing. You're not leading someone on. Like, if you're asking someone on a date knowing you potentially won't get married to them, you're not leading them on. I mean, when Megan and I started dating, my thought was, oh, sick, I'm going to hook up with this hot girl in college because that's what you do in college. And her thought was, this guy's cute. Maybe I'll give him some attention. And I was like, yeah, I've got a lot of girls back home. And she's like, yeah, I'm talking to a lot of guys at college. And lo and behold, we were just both trying to act cooler than we were, and we really liked each other. And we never thought that we were going to end up marrying each other. It just happens. So just something to think about. I feel like I've gone on too long with this situation. Let's move on to the next one right now. Third awkward situation today says, hey, Joel, a couple of months ago, my cousin got engaged, and she told my best friend. When she told my best friend, she explicitly said to him, do not tell anyone. 30 seconds after she said that, he immediately texted me the news and told me not to tell people. Later that same night, I asked my sister if my cousin had got engaged. She was told at the same time as my best friend, and she confirmed it, and later told my newly engaged cousin that I knew. The next morning, my best friend rings me on the phone, and he was yelling at me because I told my sister that I knew, and he was confronted by the newly engaged couple and told that they were disappointed in him and lost their trust. He has still not forgiven me since this has happened, and I have also lost his trust. My best friend has placed a lot of the blame on this situation to me, and that I'm in the wrong for opening my mouth even though he did the same thing. I have tried reconciling, but he says that he still can't forgive me. Sorry that it's long, but I'm just looking for some advice. I want to say I did that on the first try. I read that correctly on the first try, and I'm very impressed with myself. A couple of things come to mind here. First of all, this is a complicated web of deceit that I would normally not cover out of sheer confusion, but I'll try to break this one down. My thoughts initially are that if you don't want people to know anything, then you should not tell people anything, even if you trust these people, especially in today's social media age when everyone wants to share news with everyone. People exchange news and ideas like it's currency in today's culture. There is no secret, quote unquote. Whenever I'm saying something to my friends, especially now, maybe not so much when I first started out on YouTube, but especially in 2017 with my friends or strangers or anyone, I just assume that everything I say publicly that is typed out with physical proof will be relayed or heard by someone else. Maybe it will be shown to the public someday, even if I don't want it to be. So I try to keep that in mind when I'm saying things. And if this couple did not want this news to get out, the best thing for them to do would have been to not tell anyone. I also had another comment on Awkward Situations last week that said, I'm very concerned that I got my girl pregnant. I'm 18 and I don't know what to do. What could have been done to avoid this situation? And my thought was, well, you could have not had sex, first of all. There's things that can happen. If you tell someone, there is the chance that they will tell other people. Now, as for what you did, it seems fairly innocent. You were trying to discover the situation and figure out if your cousin was truly engaged. I guess you didn't say explicitly if your friend told you not to tell anyone, like your friend was told not to tell anyone. I don't know if I care, because it sounds like a bunch of pointless bullshit. If your friend's going to be that upset about it, hopefully he will get over it, because you were excited and you were just trying to figure out exactly what was happening. I don't know if I could tell you any different advice. I feel like I'm looking at this through a biased lens, but I just think if you don't want people to know something, you should not say it, especially in this day and age. You're opening yourself up to that potential for other people to know stuff. I can't see the situation any other way. If anyone in the comments has an alternative viewpoint, let me know, but I just think that you should not worry about it. Apologize. I'm sure you already have, and then hope the people get over it, because this is the type of stupid bullshit that all of these people will not be thinking about on their deathbeds. And if they are, then they had a very sad life. So let's move on to the last awkward situation right now. Last awkward situation today says, hey Joel, kind of sort of an awkward situation, but I'm a 17-year-old girl on my bro's YouTube account, and I have no idea what I want to do for a career. I want to be a YouTuber, but mostly as a side hobby, maybe a full-time job later on, but I don't have any particular skills for any career and aspirations, to be honest. I know I might figure it out later, but I'm afraid that I won't, and I'll end up in a job I hate forever. Not sure how you can help, but anything would be very, very helpful. Thank you. Love you. I've done many situations like this before, and this is the type of awkward situation that I do where I see a lot of comments on the episode saying, I feel like he's done this before, this is repetitive, blah, 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 whatever. But I want to do these situations multiple times because I feel like they cover so many different types of situations, particularly people saying I'm 17, 18, 19, and I feel like my life is over, which are the most ridiculous comments I get. So hopefully this is the last time I do a situation like this and everyone sees it, but I know that won't be the case, and I'm going to do something similar once again down the line. But today, I want to let everyone know that you are never going to know what you want to do with the rest of your life. It's going to get easier, but there's not going to be a day when you wake up and say, I'm going to be an engineer, and I know I want to be an engineer, and I'll dedicate my whole life to it. It's such a fiction when people say, I knew I wanted to be an actress from the time I was 7 years old, or I knew I wanted to be an engineer from the time I was blah, blah, blah. I mean, maybe that can happen, and you can pursue those dreams, but the reality is, for most of us with a lot of muddled thoughts about what we want to do with our life and complicated interests and all of that stuff, you're just not going to know. And you have to learn to be okay with that, to be okay with the not knowing. I'm happy that I have succeeded, quote unquote, as a YouTuber for this reason. I have lived my life for the past 4 or 5 years not knowing when it's going to end, not knowing if I'm going to get as many views the next month. I'm living life on a kind of week-to-week basis, especially that came to reality in April when there was the ad crisis on YouTube. And I lost a bunch of money. And my uncle lives like that. My uncle's in sales, and he had a terrible month this year. And he described it to me. I was talking to him about that at his surprise 50th birthday I went to over the weekend. And I was just thinking, I have the exact same type of job, and there's many other people. If you can learn how to roll with the punches, it will be your most valuable asset as a human being who contributes to society. The dark reality is bad things happen in life, and growing up and learning that you can get over these bad things is what helps you deal with more bad things in the future. I'm not trying to paint a negative picture. I'm just trying to say you're 17 years old. You should not know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I am 26 now. The difference between 16 and 26 is so wide. I could not describe to you. I don't feel much older. You never feel older. I was talking to my dad, who just turned 50. I don't know. He's in his early 50s. And he says, I still have the mind state of feeling like I'm 20. I just look in the mirror and I look a lot older. You don't feel older and more mature and more wise between a few years. I guess you do that gradually over time, and you look back and you think, God, I'm so much smarter than the person I was at the age of 18. And I feel that way now. But you're going to go through so many life experiences between now and the time you would graduate college, or if you don't decide to graduate college or even go to college, that's okay too, to work on a trade or a skill. It's just not something that you guys should worry about so much. You have to be okay with the unknown. And it's really hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. I deal with that every day. I'm out here too, trying to figure things out. We all are. So just don't think the world is crashing down on you. It's crashing down on all of us. But we're going to figure it out. You just got to be positive. And I promise, like we said at the start, things aren't as bad as they seem. Just really focus on yourself and don't worry about it too much, and it'll all work out. Positive, corny, bullshit message to end this episode of Awkward Situations, but I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Thanks again, guys. I love you all, and I will see you on the next episode. Goodbye.